It struck with devastating force.
This is unreal. Most water I've ever seen come out this river. I lived there pretty much all my life.
And left many communities reeling.
It's like a nightmare that we can't wake up from. You get up in the morning and you think you could go on. You don't know what to do or where to start.
On News and Review today, Hurricane Igor hits Newfoundland. Hello, I'm Michael Serapio. In the first week of September, meteorologists noticed a powerful storm had formed over the eastern Atlantic Ocean. They called it Tropical Storm Igor. As it moved westward, it gathered strength, and by September 13th, it had become a Category 4 hurricane. A hurricane so large and powerful, astronauts on the International Space Station who took this picture called it Igor the Terrible. Packing winds of 240 kilometers an hour. It was more than 800 kilometers wide, or about twice the distance between Montreal and Toronto. By the time it swept past Bermuda a few days later, it had lost some of its strength, but it still lashed the island with massive waves and driving rain. And forecasters warned that Newfoundland could be its next target. In the province, residents prepared for the worst.
We put extra ropes on our boats to keep them from busting up. We run back and forth during the storm, check on them. Okay. Make sure there's no ropes busted or parted like that. And make sure not too much water gets in from the rain. It keeps it all pumped out.
But as the CBC's Vic Adopia reports, nothing could have prepared them for the fury of Igor.
It was the kind of day that saw the landscape changing by the hour. Roads turned into rivers, lawns into lakes, forcing thousands to take cover.
We woke up at about 10 o'clock this morning and we had a gentleman come to the door and tell us we had to evacuate because we had a rock slide and a mudslide coming down our hill.
More than 200 millimeters of rain came down in some communities by midday. It swept over bridges and washed out roads. This is some of the most intense rainfall the island has ever seen.
This is unreal. Most water I've ever seen come out this river. I lived there pretty much all my life.
More than a dozen communities declared a state of emergency. Sections of the Trans-Canada Highway remain closed, leaving many isolated in remote areas as roads in and out of town crumble away. Throughout the day, homes and businesses were evacuated, people scrambling to rescue them from flooding.
I haven't got time, sir. I really don't. I'm going to try to get my stuff cleaned up and picked up out of my basement because I'm worried about that river over there.
Other people torn about whether to stay or go.
I'm not sure. Right now we don't have to, but I'm thinking I'm going to have to cut the power just for safety's sake.
High winds took a heavy toll on buildings and infrastructure. Damages are already in the millions. The storm took out electrical lines, leaving thousands of people without power. In Placentia, which was ripped apart by Tropical Storm Chantal in 2007, there are fears the town might not survive Igor.
Well, I hope somebody holds it up pretty soon because we're really getting taxed, and I'm fearful if this maintains that it's going to be a hell of a lot worse.
Now, Premier Danny Williams has spoken today. He says his main concern is reaching those communities that have been cut off by the storm, but he says he is not prepared to declare a province-wide state of emergency just yet. Peter?
Vic, any idea of when power will be restored to those thousands who are without it tonight?
Well, crews are working through the night, but it is likely that a lot of people will be spending this evening in darkness as they continue to restore power. Now, tomorrow, provincial officials will be deployed and they'll get their first look at the damage that Hurricane Igor has left behind up close.
And when they did get that look, they couldn't believe their eyes. Roads were washed out. Tens of thousands of people were without power or water. An elderly man had been swept into the sea. And many small coastal communities were cut off from the rest of the province. The CBC's Darryl McIntyre reports.
In Long Beach, near Bonavista Peninsula, people surveyed the damage to their town with a sense of awe. Here, yesterday's storm churned a tiny creek into a raging river, washing out the only road and flooding homes with muddy water.
In the 25 years I was with the fire department, I've never seen anything like this. No. You know, the severity and how quick it happened, right? You know, you've had a couple of days rain, but this happened, like I said, in just a matter of hours, right?
Hurricane Igor walloped this province with winds of up to 140 kilometers an hour and, in some places, almost 250 millimeters of rain. Perhaps hardest hit were rural outports on the Burin and Bonavista peninsulas. Roads into those areas were closed all day while work crews surveyed the damage. From the air, the full extent of that damage was obvious. Whole stretches of highway washed away, bridges either collapsed or uncrossable. Newfoundland Premier Danny Williams toured the stricken areas, reassuring people who live there that the government will help rebuild.
We got a lot of damage everywhere though, so we're trying to do it all. But I mean, if we got equipment in an area, then we're going to throw it at it.
The work has already started, but it will be a massive job. Tens of thousands of people in communities like North Harbour are cut off from the rest of the province. More than 30 towns have declared states of emergency.
Getting help to those who needed it was difficult because so many roads were washed out.
We haven't seen anybody not even a helicopter or anybody to come and assist us. This is the first people we've seen, actually, is you guys come down here with this camera. So.
In this town, roads were also largely demolished and homes flooded.
All of this level here was underwater. Here's the level that it came right here.
Residents were also without power or phones.
Really, we have no one to help us. We're here all on our own. Whatever we can do, we do. And that's as simple as it gets.
The only way in and out was by boat.
Like yesterday, we got a pregnant lady that we had to take up. She had to go to the hospital. This morning, I took a 90-year-old lady to the hospital on a stretcher.
The CBC's Gerald McIntyre has more.
In the areas hardest hit by Igor, this is the preferred mode of transportation these days. In fact, it's the only mode for those who have to travel.
We have a wedding tomorrow. This is the bridal party. So we had to come one way or another.
So we came on boat.
This tiny wharf near Trinity Bay is the only port on this stretch of coast that's still reachable by road. And it's become a transportation hub for people further down the peninsula in towns still cut off by washed-out roads.
Ran out of propane late last night, no heat for the boys. And food is getting pretty scarce, and we have no way to getting anything. So my mom is on her way to pick us up.
Yeah, just lay her down, guys. Lay her down there.
Good there.
People who need medical attention come out through this port. Food goes in to towns where, after 3 days of isolation, grocery store shelves are running low. But today, news of help from outside. Prime Minister Stephen Harper toured some of the hardest hit communities on the Bonavista Peninsula, surveying the damage firsthand and promising assistance from the military.
I think they're going to be here pretty quick. You're going to have some naval to assist, obviously, on some of the water transportation. Also, some Army engineers, I think, will be coming over.
That help will surely be welcome.
We're all little communities, and we're very used to helping each other out. We always do.
But with so much damage, they also needed some extra assistance. And about a week after the hurricane struck, the Canadian military arrived to lend a hand. So did the Minister of Defence, with a message from the rest of Canada.
People right across the country that care, and they're sending their best wishes, and we're going to help you any way we can.
I know. Thank you so much. Thank you.
It was a message many residents had been waiting to hear.
Like I said, it's like a nightmare that we can't wake up from. You get up in the morning and you think you can go on. You don't know what to do or where to start.
More than 1,000 Canadian soldiers and sailors helped clear roads and deliver food.
It's not too often these guys get to come somewhere else in Canada and do what they know how to do best and hone our skills and help people at the same time.
In this town, the soldiers helped install a temporary bridge.
And then when it gets there, the bridge is going to want to tip. The troops will hold on to it, let it come down, the nose will touch on the ground here.
And end the town's isolation. As the cleanup continued, most Newfoundlanders could look forward to resuming their normal lives. But in places like Port Union, Igor's impact is threatening the community's very future. Sasha Petrusik has that story.
2 weeks on, the hurricane is no distant memory here. It left too many buildings damaged, too many lives and livelihoods in disarray. Bill Donovan is still looking for the pieces of his.
So there's a couple outboard motors in under this somewhere, my chainsaw.
Heavy rain swept away the ground under his workshop, destroying a year's catch of fish drying inside. $3,500 worth, taking the entire two-story building out to sea.
This is part of it. This part came ashore here.
Donovan himself would have been carried off into the bay if he hadn't been pulled ashore by friends at the end of a rope.
So halfway across, I got knocked down by a rock, and then I got under the water, and then I got hit by another rock. And
is that what happened to your shoulder?
Yes, yeah.
His shoulder will heal, he tells me. The rest can be patched up, but his fish business may never recover.
So I'll tell you, Sasha boy, it's a mess.
The mayor of Port Union and the communities around it
This is the bridge.
shows me just how big a mess it is. Demolished as if by an earthquake. Damage to infrastructure the town itself just can't afford to fix, says Brendan Peters.
I think people are still in shock yet from the storm, you know. A lot of things we haven't realized or haven't, you know, come to terms with it.
None of these are more critical than the last stop in our tour, the local fish plant, badly battered by the storm after struggling for years to stay viable.
To a smaller area, you know, it's the lifeblood of the area.
Hurricane Igor cut a nasty swath through Newfoundland, tearing up roads and trees, flooding basements. But much of that is already being fixed. The real damage may be yet to come. In places like Port Union, one industry towns that may well have been one storm away from economic ruin.
And the minute we got about 2 feet, that door bust open and water just went everywhere.
Inside, the fish plant is a mess.
Well, this is the door that we went out through.
Engineer Jeff Wilcox was working when the storm hit.
Well, the pressure of the water in here broke out the glass.
It almost reached the ceiling.
Up over the window.
Much of the machinery has damage that just can't be repaired.
Massive.
This is our control. You can see, I mean, that's fried.
That's ruined.
And the shrimp that had not been processed yet, that's been loaded to be dumped out back. Ocean Choice International, the company that owns the plant, has already said no one will be coming to work here for the rest of the season. The timing is especially bad, since many of the 250 employees needed a few more weeks to qualify for unemployment insurance.
That must be pretty devastating. It's so close.
It is, yeah. You know, a lot of people now with their unemployment cut off and no income whatsoever.
Came at a bad time too. Yeah. Right on the peak of June, just getting over the hump, getting towards their EI benefits. Eh?
It is, yeah.
The real fear is that the plant may never reopen. It has happened before here, and this time nothing's been announced.
Well, if we lose that, the total devastation around that. I mean, it only employs a couple of hundred, but a couple of hundred in small areas that, you know, a big thing.
An even bigger problem than the storm itself. As I leave Port Union, the decomposing shrimp are being dumped back into the ocean, cleaning up only a small part of the mess this hurricane left for the town to face. Sasha Petrusek, CBC News, Port Union, Newfoundland.
Hurricane Igor, a storm that showed us the awesome power of nature and the amazing strength of the people of Newfoundland. And that is News in Review. Don't forget to check out our website at newsinreview.cbclearning.ca. I'm Michael Serapio. Thanks for watching. On a day of pomp and ceremony, a Governor General departs.
You, David L. Johnston.
And another is sworn in.
I do.
On News in Review today, Canada's new Governor General. Hello, I'm Michael Serapio. On the first day of October, there was a very special ceremony on Parliament Hill. Politicians, diplomats, Supreme Court justices, and others crowded into the Senate chamber. The occasion? The swearing in of a new Governor General. After 5 years, Michael Jean's term as Governor General was over. And David Johnston was about to take her place and become the Queen's representative in Canada. The 69-year-old Johnston was born in Sudbury, Ontario. He studied and played hockey at Harvard University. He is a constitutional law professor and has been principal and president of 2 universities in Canada.
Tonight, the leaders of Canada's 3 major political parties.
Over the years, he has also moderated some political debates, including this famous one between Prime Minister John Turner and Conservative leader Brian Mulroney. 2 years ago, he was asked by Prime Minister Stephen Harper to set the terms of reference for a public inquiry into the Mulroney-Schreiber affair. Usually, the Prime Minister gets to choose the Governor General, but this year he was assisted by a panel of experts who considered potential candidates and narrowed down the choices. And in early July, Johnston's appointment was announced. The CBC's Margot McDermott has this report.
David Johnston stepped into the cool halls of the Parliament buildings today, his first appearance as Governor General designate.
My wife and I have always believed that service, whether it is to family, community, university, or country, is our highest calling. And so, we are proud to have this opportunity to serve Canada and our fellow citizens.
Johnston graduated from Queen's University, Harvard, and Cambridge, and has been head of 2 leading